It had to happen. It had to. People were screaming, crying. People were so upset. Our millions of followers all called in and said, last week there was no cock and bull. What's going on with India? I can't answer that in less than 3 to 4 days. So I'll just get on with it. It is on today. We have cock and bull. We've got two extremely interesting guests, myself and Ayushi, plus the other two guys. Now, before I get into that, I want to quickly tell everybody this is an old issue with me, but it's carrying on. At 6:10 in the morning, it's man versus car every day for me at a place called Princess Street, which has a bridge in South Mumbai. This is for people in Perth who are listening, which is 50% of our audience. So what happens is, as I drive up there, I'm faced with two or three men walking in the middle of the road. Now, there's a law against walking on bridges. I'm sure there is. Even if it's early morning, it's just not right. Because I'm sort of blindsided when I take that turn. I go up, and then these three guys, really, not to mention aesthetically not pleasing to look at, and they're just walking around like with nothing to do. And they stare at me like I'm in the wrong. The bridge is for the car. You've got the underbridge, the place below. That's where you go from. I can't bear this anymore. Really, I don't know what to do. Indian society and urban society and discipline is just not working. We should just give it up and go back to tribalism. And everybody should be allowed to kill each other. And there should be no questions asked. Okay, let's welcome our guests. Ayushi, please make yourself
Hi.
available. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Looking happy and fresh and a
It's
little irritated.
Monday.
You'll tell us why.
No,
Monday
no.
morning.
Actually, this is my baseline irritation, which is just like a normal. You've woken up on Monday. It's not the weekend. Life is happening. You're annoyed.
That's
But
true.
thank you for having me back. This is my
I didn't even know
favorite.
you were on. How can you thank
No,
me?
this is the best. I'll tell you why. Because ever since I learned that this is live stream and people get like even a little bit excited that they see my name, I'm like, yes, the ego boost is so good on this. Like start
Okay,
my week on a high.
not to bring you down, but it's the theory of relativity, as told to me by my ex uncle Albert Einstein. When you have three ugly men, and then you bring in a youngish girl, young, not youngish, I dare say young, I get a slap, a
I
young
am
girl,
young.
the
I'm below
aesthetic quality of our
30.
show has gone up, and they're also happy. So please understand, don't take this very seriously. It's all to do with the
Cyrus, let
relativity.
me have
Three ugly
this.
men.
Please,
Sorry?
please let me have this.
I'll let you have this.
I
I
asked
screwed it
for
up. I thought I
nothing.
was being
I
funny, and I sounded so unchivalrous. I'm taking it all back. All right, shall we introduce the other two while you gasp at the atrocity
yes.
of this show? Amit is back, looking always sober and stoic, and not unlike his namesake
Amit, you're on
sometimes,
mute.
and on mute, which is
Sorry about that.
unnecessary. Even the
Yeah,
greatest get out for zero. Remember that. You may be the tech king of our
Oh,
company.
that's too
Yeah.
Yeah.
too close to reality right now. But you
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that.
Sorry, one more knife. It's like Caesar was killed with just one stab. Actually, what was the need to stab him 23 times? Only one was
That's
fatal.
a good
Uh,
question.
well, it was a solidarity thing. Now that you bring it up,
yeah.
Ayushi, let's discuss it. So the others had to do it onto his dead body. He was lying there in his toga. He'd finished
But
saying
they
his last
weren't
few words.
23. No, they weren't
They won.
23 of
They won
them.
23,
So
but
some
there
went
were,
in
I
for
think, 17.
seconds. Yeah,
Went
some
in for
went in for
seconds, but they had to
seconds.
show solidarity. But I'm
Casca.
saying
I'm sure it was Casca.
Casca
Right? I'm
started
sure.
it. Casca
Yeah.
started it.
I'm sure he
But
went more than once.
he
I was okay with
no,
Casca.
no, he's the one Caesar pushed off. From all reports, Caesar was able to fend him off. So he got just a cut like that. His brother is the one who gave the next one, which I think is the fatal
Uh,
blow, which goes into an organ. The rest are all unfatal blows. He would have survived. And then, of course, he's dead, or he's dying, and he's lying on the floor. And then they have to show the. I mean, that must be a horrible job,
But then there was a
I'm not,
back. Then there was a backstab. No.
I
that
don't
was
think it's a
well.
backstab.
Oh
No,
It
no
it
was
was
a
a
no.
back.
side. Yeah,
It's
Sorry, it was
backstabbing
a
as
it
in
was a
like
metaphorical
well,
yeah,
backstab.
backstab.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Et tu,
Brutus
Brute.
stabbed him in the abdomen. If you must know, if you're talking about the unkindest cut of all,
Oh,
Brutus stabs him in the abdomen, which has no sexual connotation, I hope, because he's supposed to be possibly being his son out of wedlock.
his
Really,
son.
oh, the Romans are beautiful. Their life
I've
stories
never
are.
heard
Why
that
did we
before.
did
Yeah,
we did
uh,
10 standard
there's a
ICSE
possibility
Julius
that he was
Caesar?
the blood son. Sorry,
We did 10 standard ICSE Julius Caesar. This was
so did we.
not told
No, no,
to
they
us that
don't
he
get
could
into
be
all
his
this.
son.
Only people like
Huh.
me with nothing to do get into all this, and you keep researching the same story again. I love the idea of seeing how the assassination happened, how he was not going to come that day and all. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
yeah.
fabulous story. He was really not. He was drunk, hungover. He didn't want to come, and they sort of forced him to come that day. And they take Mark Anthony away from the Senate and chat
Yeah.
with him like a guy taking
That I
another guy to have
remember.
a
Yeah.
cigarette. And then he goes in and blah blah blah. And then they ask again for certain things that he has denied them. And when he denies them again, that's the cue for Casca to start. And then all hell breaks loose. But they were all shaking apparently, and of course these are all low hearsay, so we don't know for sure.
Hmm.
But I'm just thinking, he's such a huge, powerful presence. It's not easy to stab him. Your
No,
fear is there for a
absolutely.
great
You would
personality
be
and all.
I mean, first it's
Yeah,
this fear of like, oh, I'm about to kill someone. Like that's the first thing, and then the second thing
exactly.
is you're gonna kill like the king or like the ruler, like the great big
You want
person,
to be
and
the
like how
king.
are you
You're
gonna
right,
do it?
absolutely, and loved by the people and the military. So you don't want to mess with that guy. He was
I
very
think
highly
that's the
popular.
thing, right? Love by
Yeah,
the military. That
yeah.
that's the fundamental thing.
They would
I
have
don't
died
think
for it.
any
There's no
I
question.
don't think any of these people really cared about the people. They cared about the
Yeah.
military, right? That
But
that
also
that's what it
the actual act of doing it as a planning is one thing. When you actually come to it, it's like a performance. You rehearse when you're about to do it, or an exam and you're about to do the exam. There's
Yeah,
that
of
fear
course.
for a little bit. I had that in my wedding, and the night after, and the night after that, and 3 nights up, and now it's just
But
going on.
luckily, that was an entirely murder-free enterprise. So
You think? You think?
you came
Let me
out
tell
of
you,
it
cancer.
relatively.
Not to be insensitive, cancer is the worst of all because you die real slow. Remember that. Ah, she's come. She's coming to the office. I think it's actually important. You should keep your mouth shut. Hey, listen, it's Monday morning. Can I do my? I plan my little. I take out the words from the. I didn't know
Oh yeah,
Ayushi
yeah,
was
yeah.
on,
Yes, absolutely, yes.
and there's no
Let's do the
Kunal.
words.
There was no Kunal to cheat. So this is it, just to show you that this is the reference. Everybody, don't lie. Oxford Dictionary. Ayushi, what we do is we start with a silly, random questioning of your English language knowledge. And your, I think Cathedral ICSE as a blue-blooded, rich kid, South Bombay experience, speak only English and forget my mother tongue. Till I go back to college and I'm forced to relearn it. Amin Gujarati છે ना?
Man,
Amin શું છે?
I'm so
Gujarati
tired
બોલે
of
છે?
Yeah, of course, but I'm
થોડું બોલે
tired of
છે?
apologizing. બહુ બોલું છું.
Oh, and all the Gujarati, I know, but you Punjabi, Silvery, all if you go to Cathedral or South Bombay schools, you relearn mother tongues later. When you
Yeah,
because
correct.
for
Yeah,
10
you
years
don't know
Yeah,
the
everybody is an
that's,
Englishman.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Correct.
ridiculous story. Chalo. So no cheating. Hands up, Ayushi. I don't think you're going to cheat. That Vijaykar has spoiled the thing. Boys, no cheating, huh? And that's why we can't keep it open, folks. Who are listening because we know you'll cheat. It's just unfair. Please send the answer. Okay. The first
Now I'm a
word
bit
one.
nervous.
But try. Okay, I
Okay.
try to get things which I hope are possible. So the first one, it's a noun, and the word is. Please listen to the word clearly because I can't give you more hints than that right now.
Mhm.
Conjunctiva. Conjuctiva. 4 syllables. Conjunctiva. Conjunctiva.
Um,
It's a noun.
is
Is
it
that
infected? Infection?
we're just thinking
No.
it's like because you're thinking conjunctivitis in this
I'm
Phonetics,
case.
thinking.
yes.
So I was thinking conjunction, and I was thinking conjunctivitis, and I feel like the V
Conjunctiva.
gets you closer. The V gets you closer to conjunctivitis than conjunction.
But it's a noun.
It's the
Conjunctiva.
Now,
it's the new Mahindra scooter, conjunctiva.
Thanks, Silvery. These two
But
scientists are
yeah, that's
closing
one.
in, and then you
Yeah,
have to take it to the theater of the observer. Thanks for that.
yeah, of
Now,
course.
whoever's listening is completely confused.
It
We're
is.
thinking of brands.
Does it have anything to do with like a conjunction or like to like some sort of merger or
I
but
joining
suppose
or
it.
the,
I
something?
suppose it does.
Is
It
it
but then
does.
there should
side of
be
it?
an N in there. No, if it's
Yeah, but I was
junction,
thinking,
there's no
but like
N.
root word, so maybe conjunctiva.
No, but what is conjunction is like a connect, right? So in that sense,
Yeah,
yes.
the
I'm,
conjunction is like a coming together of multiple things, right? It's not a
Yeah, but
connect.
I was
It's more of
yeah,
a
but is
yeah.
it in that realm of like some sort of merger coming together? Some
um, I think it is. I think it'd be fair to say it is. It's not clearly such a situation,
yeah.
but there is a two-part dynamic. So I will grant you that. But you guys are not,
Uh,
except for Silvery, you guys are not completely out of control.
Okay.
Thank you.
um,
Oh, Silvery,
is it?
we need that because otherwise it's
so
become a
what's
boring quiz show. This whole bloody podcast will be two students.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know how students are competitive and boring? I mean, just go back to class. These are the two nerds of the class sitting there and going jugular to jugular over some ridiculously stupid word where their phonetics and their
are we
logic
allowed to
will
just ask?
will
Are we just
will
allowed to ask what's
conjunct.
the answer?
Yeah.
Can we ask what the answer is? What's this game? Like how does it
Okay.
end?
Done. Then I
Yeah.
suppose Silvery, you have won this round because it's the mucous membrane that covers the front of the eyes. So yeah, there's a
So
connection.
how is it anything to do with what we said?
Well, the word conjunctivitis and all comes from it.
Oh,
Conjunctiva is a noun. It's the name of that mucous membrane that's covering your eye. So
So Amit was kind
it's
of
covered.
close. Amit kind of mentioned
Yeah,
that.
he is. So is
Loosely.
she.
not really, because I said disease. I didn't say eye. This is eye related, not disease
Okay.
related.
But
That's
So
the
then
thing.
you
Is
said we should
yeah.
have gone for the most common thing, which was conjunctivitis. We should have just
you
gone, it's
did.
an
You
eye
mentioned it.
thing.
You did
Yeah.
mention it.
But then you
But
said
that's
no.
I didn't say no. I said that's not the answer. No, that don't. Come on, that's mean. It's not like this guy's written the
That's
dictionary.
mean.
His
I'm being
name
mean
is
to you.
Judy Pearsall is the lady. Pearsall. Please talk to Judy Pearsall. If she's alive, she can come on the podcast. I'm parroting what's written. Okay, next one, the slightly tougher one I thought is sudorific. It's an adjective. Sudorific. I think that's how you
Spell
pronounce
that.
it. I'm not 100% sure.
Spell.
Oh. Okay, yeah, please go
SUDORIFIC.
Okay. It's like when you want to say something is terrific, but in like a false way. So like pseudo.
Sudorific.
Like reverse it.
Sudorific. Yeah, like it's not really
Sudorific.
terrific.
So as a comedian, you're still
know.
working. I suppose that's the
I
good
mean,
thing to
yeah,
look at
well,
from the-
but
But
that's-
as a student of anything,
I
I
mean,
must say you're a big F. A big F. How quickly your mind went to the wrong answer. I'm so proud of you.
I mean,
Full
yeah,
applause.
it's for a pseudo answer, you mean?
Yeah, because these two are always trying to find the real genesis of the truth here, and so it's so nice to have a combination of that.
Why
Sudorific.
don't any of these comments on the side, like any of these people should Google it and tell us?
I
It's
think
something to do with
they sleep through this part. It's
it's
too
something to do with
painful.
horrific. Something to do with the word horrific.
Sudorific.
Sudorific.
तेरे को वो फिक का sound से
हाँ,
I think
terrific,
you're getting
horrific.
Is it something
Uh,
that's putting you? No, that's sulfuric, right? Or putting you to sleep. It's not putting you to sleep, right?
SUDOR Sudor IFIC
SUDOR.
Oh, SU. Oh, not P. Okay.
Okay, next time I'll have it texted as well. Maybe that helps to look at it. Sudorific. Come on, guys, we got a whole show to do. So much to talk
Nothing,
about.
man.
15 minutes
Can't
of
think of
on
it.
this.
Cannot
Okay, it's an
think of it.
adjective relating to or causing sweat. Tan tan tan. Torn t-shirt. Yeah,
Oh my god, you
Uh,
actually have a torn t-shirt.
both sides.
Oh,
Um,
it's a what? It's like a sweat gland.
well, it's an adjective relating to causing sweat. You use it as an adjective in a sentence that causes sweat, but as a
Oh.
noun, you can say it's a sudorific drug. For example, the name of the
okay.
drug.
So
Sachin
Cyrus
has
is wearing an
literally said-
anti-sudorific t-shirt right now.
Somebody
got
has
a
just said,
comment.
"Can we skip this part of this podcast?"
Not really.
For that, we'll do a third word just to make Sachin happy. Yeah. All right. So you've all failed. Ayushi, I'll let you be the champion here because you're interested in this subject, doing it for the first time. By the way, what are you
Okay.
drinking?
Tea.
Okay. I'm drinking mango, something from Slay Coffee. I'll just leave it
Mango.
aside for now.
Great. It is.
Our guests have been on top of it. How can the host go wrong, man? That's horrible. Okay, so we can start with our first topic. I think Ayushi wanted to jump into that fabulous night we've had on Sunday, where the small country opposite us across the border hammered us by 10 wickets, which is like an innings defeat and more in Test cricket, which is worse than what the Congress suffered in 2014 or 2019, which is what they will suffer with Amarinder leaving. So, who wants to take it up? 10 wicket
My God,
loss.
you went
Yeah.
with 3 different touchy topics in
I think it was a sudorific thing that I did because I'm already sweating.
literally. You got
Yeah.
a cricket, the Congress, and Punjab. Like amazing. Tick, tick, tick.
I was just thinking, all you can do is make jokes. What else can you do? It's a little better than the other side, which you mentioned offline about these morons or attacking and going berserk. I think we might as well make jokes on ourselves, be a little self-deprecating, and take it on the chin because they beat the crap out of us,
Absolutely.
and that's the truth.
I mean, like whether, and I don't know if everyone watched like the post-match, the interview, Kohli's press interview or whatever, and whether the person he's doing this
It's like
to put up a
S&M.
front, but whether to put up the front or not, I was like, that's how the captain should have responded. That is exactly, and you would wish and hope that the country would take a page, be like, okay, if
Yeah.
our skipper is saying this and he is being so upfront about the fact that this is how you should handle it, it's a sport, like there's sportsmanship attached to it. Some days you win, you lose. How, with what brains, what fucking guts do you have to go on a cricketer's Instagram and social media page
Yeah.
and then just torrentially lay into this person?
And Ayushi, that this is the tech world, the evolution of criticism by the subcontinental morons
Yeah.
and louts, where we would burn the houses, abuse the parents, throw things at the kids. All
Yeah,
that is
that's
now
all happening
less,
now.
but it's this trolling and abusing online. Yeah, so it's really sad.
Isn't the big thing that India hasn't lost to Pakistan ever in a World Cup match?
In a world
So this
Cup,
was the
yeah.
first.
In any of the World Cup formats. We
Yeah,
have
this was
lost
the first.
at, Champions
So
Trophy,
it's
but
only a
never
law
World
of
Cup.
averages, right? Like if they
Yeah,
have
that
to
will
lose at
happen.
some
It
point,
had to happen.
It
That's the
had
thing,
to
that
happen.
it's
Just
not
come here.
possible that you are going to evade this eventuality at some point. And if you were outplayed, you were outplayed. It's unfortunate, it's sad, it's heartbreaking, of course, it's all of those things. But does it mean that you go on Mohammed Shami's Instagram page and call him a Pakistani and say that he took bribes
That's
and then insult and give death threats to his mother and his sister and his wife and his and who are you exactly? What have you done since
really.
birth that gives you the right to speak like this to anyone?
She's talking to you, Silvery. It's a very personal
Exactly.
comment.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I burned that effigy. Sorry, my bad.
I wish you knew more about cricket though. Then it
Unacceptable.
would have made sense.
Uh,
Somebody just told you burn this. Okay, theek hai. Ah, yeah. We're joking about it, but I think it's atrocious, abominable. I can't think of worse words. I wish I had better language skill
Yeah.
because it just. Why do you do that? Also, what kind of malice
But
is in person's heart? It's just game. I mean, the next to us is Amit Doshi, who loves the NBA and gets. Amit, what happens to you when your favorite team really
so,
underperforms? You do get
so
angry. Let's get
you get
let's be
angry.
honest.
People do get angry. There are people who overreact to this stuff. That's always been the case, right? It's not a this is not a India specific thing. When
No, no,
the
of course.
Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, right, which is, and they won, right, and my team, my the NFL team that I follow and I like and stuff like that, there was a fucking riot, man. Like, you know what I mean, like people like broke cars, burnt shit, like some idiot like ate horse shit or something like that to, like, you know, as like
What is
celebration.
the significance of that? Anger or happiness?
No, it's happiness.
Or
Like they're
just
like
pro horse?
no, no. There's no logic to this, right? It's just like these people are drunk out of their minds and they're celebrating, right? In this
Yeah.
case, we have people who are drunk out of their minds and they're venting. Now, it's not the thing that I think is disturbing over here, right? Is this whole strain of intolerance that's coming across, right? And
Yeah, and
is
it's
being
like you
is kind of merging
religion.
with this thing. Yeah, it's merging with this, right? Like it's the same as the whole, the issue. With the Fab India thing, the issue with the
Yeah.
Seat Tires thing recently, with that
the
Diwali
new
ad,
Dabur thing now.
the Dabur thing, the Bindi ad. I think the Dabur thing is the Bindi ad you're talking
No, I'm
about.
talking about the Karwa Chauth ad, the one with
Okay,
the same-sex couple who are like
okay.
celebrating
I
Karwa Chauth.
didn't. I did not even know that. That
I
one I
can't
have not
even
heard of.
keep up. I can't even
Yeah, yeah.
keep up
So
with
it
which
literally came
ad
out
is.
this weekend. It started this weekend, if I'm not wrong, or maybe like a week back or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
found out about it. On
it's
Saturday.
this strain of intolerance mixing in with this social media stuff where you can kind of do stuff, and then you add in the passion of sport, and then it just gets even
I don't know if the right word is
more.
irony, but the Indians and the Pakistanis traditionally, from Gavaskar's days and before, they get along really fine. And for
Yeah.
example, a lot of the Pakistani boys love the Indian guys and idolize them growing up. For example, Haider Ali, the opener, is a big Rohit Sharma fan, posters everywhere, speaks about him all the time, loves him. Virat Kohli is worshipped by about five, including Babar Azam, as their heroes. So why could we understand it's just a game of cricket? Just like it would be with any other country. What is it going to this communal tinge all the time? And then all
And the
the
fact that
vitriol
he
that comes out.
congratulated, the fact that one sportsman congratulated two other sportsmen for doing very well at their job
What is
and
he
what they're
supposed to do?
supposed to do, because
Correct.
that's exactly what happened in that context. But the way that they've gone after his wife, his daughter, you have to see,
That's what
and it's like the on one
it's
hand, if the team had done it right, you would have gone after the Pakistanis and you would have been like, look at what we did to you, look at what and but because we didn't do it, now you're gonna turn it in. So it's like it doesn't matter. These people are equal opportunity trolls. They're equal
Yeah.
opportunity assholes.
No, but you can make
No,
jokes. I don't want to make jokes with personal remarks about kids and wife and all this. I mean, that's very cowardly also if you think about it. Where's the wit? You want wit, you
And
want
behind the
banter, you want
screen,
some rebuttal. It's fine. Sorry.
behind the screen,
And
no,
from
like
behind, hiding, not yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, I
that
have no problem.
journalist,
There were a couple
that
of jokes.
journalist. Sorry,
Sorry.
you go.
No,
No, no,
you go,
you
you go,
go.
you go. No, 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 please. I
No,
usually we only have you once in a while. Please talk.
I don't know. Again, in that press conference, when one of the journalists asked Kohli a question, like they were asking him, and he basically one of his answers was like, "You come here, you put on the jersey, you face the pressure that the boys face, and then you ask these questions." And I was like, finally, somebody is actually talking back to these people, to
No, but
like the press, and
you
saying,
irritate him
"Stop."
so much that he starts
Yeah,
talking in that manner. It's not like it happened in the first question. So
yeah,
at
what
but
all.
then listen, listen. I'm sorry, I have no patience for athletes who don't want to answer questions,
no, no,
because the
one second.
flip side of that is then he's saying all of this. You also now then you also give me your 150 crores a year now. You
No,
also
one
do
second,
that,
Amit,
no?
Amit,
Then
Amit, Amit. Let's understand. Okay, we're taking
there is
revenge
a
Man,
here,
it's
but
like
let me
that's not
understand.
an
there's
equal
there's a
trade-off.
no, no,
One
there's a
second. Amit,
responsibility to
Amit,
being a
what are the
celebrity of this
questions?
nature.
What are the questions? As long as they're cricket related, he must sit and answer all of them till the bell rings. Okay, why did we lose? Why did so
Yeah,
and so open? Why did
He
you
yeah,
go to
did.
this bowler? Why
yeah.
did the six over go to so and so? That's fine. But when you
Huh.
start asking ridiculous questions and going into monetary things and other things, you can see that they're just trying to bait
And
the
also,
guy.
he's
Okay,
answered the
that's a little
question.
different.
He's answered the question. He said it
Yeah.
also. He's like, if you want controversy, let me know in the beginning.
Mm.
He answered every single question. He
So
took them all.
there is
How he
this.
chooses to answer them is his prerogative. He is also a free
He can.
person to defend his
He
team.
exactly. He's allowed to answer them however he wants to, but he cannot. I don't like it when these guys flip this, saying that, "Oh, you're not in my position." No, I'm not in your position. I'm in the position of asking you the question. You are in the position of answering the question. This is the ecosystem we live in.
He
Yeah,
gave
I
that's
one
get
true.
line at the
annoyed
end
with
of
them.
it. He
Yeah,
answered all. He answered the full
yeah.
question, and at the end, he said, "Why don't you put on my jersey and come here and see?"
Hmm,
Which is,
And it's always the home journalists.
hmm.
It's very rarely
yeah.
anybody else. It's the home journalist, just like the home fan. It's like all the great statesmen are killed by their own people.
Yeah.
It's always the same. The end to the whole thing. Not to bring that comparison out, but it's just a game. I
It
know it's
is.
not just a game, but it's just a game also. End of the day,
And
But
you
you know
have to be
that's
able to see it as such. You just have to.
so. But then there's a
that's
question
how
around
empty your
how
lives are,
we.
right?
No, but
Sorry, Ayushi,
Cyrus.
our lives are so empty that we put so much stock into the game that we're not able to understand the reality. You just beat your wife up, you kicked your son in the teeth, you slap the dog outside. I mean, you do all kinds of bad things all day. Your contribution to the economy is zero, to social etiquette is zero, to helping the economy outside your own world is zero. But this is so important, and it's not even involving you to a point,
And they owe you. They,
and
those
they owe you,
11,
yeah,
15 people, they
Yeah,
owe you
yeah.
personally a win
And
because you've
Shami,
done so much.
and can
Uh,
you not be a Muslim and doesn't have to be brought up every time you play cricket or anything for India? Your
You have to
Muslimness has to be
see
brought up.
this
What's the
stuff that is written under his page. It's like, I mean, horrible, horrible. With what it's like when you pick up your phone and you type something. There's like a whole process of hitting that send. I want to know what is in that person's brain that doesn't stop you from clicking send or post or whatever it is. Like, where is your
I
humanity?
but Aisha, I mean, like, that these people exist, right? They're out
No, no,
there.
of course, I'm outraged
They're
because it's
after.
today's topic. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
outraged every time it happens, but I'm
Well,
No,
no,
of
no,
saying
but
course you should be
it
today it's
is.
outraged.
happening.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just ridiculous because it just goes on because of the cowardly nature of the beast. Yeah, you just hide from somewhere and send remarks all the time. It's like how I send messages to the PMO. There's no sugar in coffee today, and there's no reply from these guys from time to time. Small little
That's still
criticisms.
unacceptable. Like, I swear, like, even on Twitter, if you like, I tweet sometimes to like the transport minister being like, listen, road hole very big, please fix. Like, I'm not expecting anything from that. It's a
It
joke,
was
it's
you.
harmless. It was
Yeah.
me. Like, what is, but then to say, like, we're going to, this is Anushka Sharma's fault, we're going to kill her, we're not going to watch her movies. Then it becomes into sexual
Really,
misdemeanors against her, against his daughter. Why? Because the
it's
skipper
one-year
said
old girl.
and congratulated the Pakistani team for doing well, for outplaying them, which was an obvious. Anyone with
For what?
eyes saw
For
that
which
we
the
were
term
outplayed.
we talk about cricket being a gentleman's game. That's the one thing that we still have going for us. That you shake hands at the end, win or lose, and everybody's happy. You end it. This is one thing we Indians don't get about crossing the line. And I don't just not about cricket. It's about anything. When you're
Hmm.
involved in an event, whatever, or shoot or thing. Once you end it, it shouldn't be taken personally. That's it. While it's on, temperatures go here and there. Sometimes I give you and whatever, but we need to just switch off. That switch off doesn't happen. Why don't we take the emotions with us, outside the area of play, which is so unnecessary, really. I was
Th-
also very
there
disappointed, but I just took
there's
out my
a
Human Digest and started reading whatever pages were left. Yeah, but
I feel
Amit will
like
understand.
yeah, no, no, just Indian culture. I think that the way we are, right? I mean, like, and this is like, across different, like, social strata, across different kinds of age groups, all of that, right? The tendency to take things personally, right? It's
Everyone,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you cannot, like, there's no
why?
idea that this is, dude, this is something, that this is just business, or this is just a thing, right? There's no sense of that. It's like I say something to you in a business context, and it's like, oh my god, I have ended your life, right? And now you have to go to war, right? And I mean, like, it's just, that's kind of everything is like taken at that kind of level.
And the
It's
threat,
trivial.
like it's a personal threat, like seeing an ad for a jewelry brand or seeing an ad for a fab India apparently has shaken you to your core and
Yeah,
your religion, your faith. And I think of it the other way. I'm like, your faith is so fragile, it's so
absolutely.
fragile that it can be shaken by this. And if you really believed in
And
god
by faith, we
slash the
mean your
gods,
identity. When
your
you have no sense
identity,
of, who you are,
that it's
really. That
so caught up in some idea of what Hinduism or a festival is that you can't accept that something else can exist.
yeah, but we're not
And
meant
it's
for
fab
democracy. Let's
India,
face it.
man.
It's just not in our DNA. We just like to be ruled or rule. It's up or down.
Yeah.
There's no
I know.
democracy. Egalitarianism is wasted. I say we give it back. We call Kim Jong Un. He does tutorials, or does he really need to? Yeah. Oh, one
uh,
last thing I'll say about this is in the old days there was an Urdu couplet, which of course I could never say. I'll murder it. I hope anyone who can speak good Urdu will do it for us. About how if you're an Indian or a Pakistani and your team loses, you go to the other country. That's the only place where you're welcome. So right now that's
That's
where we
so true.
stand. It's so true. It's so sad, but it's true. I'm just thinking Imran must be trying to call, and our center should be like not taking the calls, and he's like leaving a message saying, "No, not Kashmir. Just want to talk cricket." They're not picking it up.
I love that picture of Imran Khan and all his, like, maybe his friends or cabinet or whatever watching the match, and you can tell that on the screen he's connected it from an HDMI to the laptop because you can see all like the Google tabs on the top. So the Prime Minister is watching this on a on like a streaming platform, and he's connected his laptop with the wire.
Well, he's supposed to be running the country. They aren't supposed to take 3 hours off. Any of these world leaders to watch
And they're not
matches.
chilling the snacks and all. It's happening. It's nice. It's fun.
Anyway, I got
Good for
some
you.
good news at the same time because Man U got slaughtered 5-0 on my son's birthday, Canada time. So I was so happy, and I sent him a
That
birthday
was
present.
bad.
That was
was
great.
bad.
We are Man U haters. Now it's our turn to be trolls. I guess.
okay. I saw
Because-
like 4 or 5 people asking you your impression or what did you think about the Man U
Yeah,
Liverpool in the chat.
And
So,
Saha, and about Saha, the new the
I
player,
think Saha is the most
Egyptian.
underrated footballer. Ayushi seems to be a big fan. In the they talk of the big two all the time, and a couple of Mbappe and all names come up, but Saha's always left out. And
who
Salah
are the big
rather.
two? Ronaldinho
Really,
and
Amit?
who the
Ronaldinho,
other?
he's in jail. Ronaldo
Ronaldo.
had the header of the century or something last
Come
week.
now, Amit. Even we know. Even I
Really?
know that.
No, I don't know who
Ronaldo's
the
back.
second.
Messi,
No, I know
Messi and Ronaldo
Messi.
have
Yeah,
dwarfed the
Messi and
others.
Ronaldo.
Okay, all right.
Mbappe
Okay,
is the
Messi, all right.
rising sun. You've got the Brazilians, one or two of them, Neymar, etc. But they
Oh.
always leave Salah out. And look at his record;
Okay.
it's unquestionably brilliant. And
Yeah.
he's been the wall for Liverpool for so long. Not wall is the wrong word. The striker in a sense. And he's just not getting the credit. And he's brought, being of Islamic and Egyptian descent, he's brought another whole dynamic to Liverpool and English football, which has been great. They love him. He's loved, which is so
Yeah.
good from a humanity point of view as well. Anyway, so that was good news for us Liverpool lovers. So you win some, you lose some. Beauty of sport. Just turn to the other sport. One sport conks. Just turn to the other sport. There's always something. And there's always West Bengal elections. Okay, guys.
Which is a true
Where the
sport.
tiny lady can't be beaten. Sorry?
But that's an actual. But it's like on Twitter, you see so many people just like, oh, this is the worst day of my life. Like, man, you
That's
lost,
fine.
India lost, and it's like, okay, fine, you're sad, and that's fine because like
Yeah.
that's the beauty of being part of a sport and like attaching like that loyalty, that fervor, like whatever, all that good stuff. But that's the line. That's the line. Not. It's so sad. I'm going to kill everyone outside my community and faith and belief system because they did this to me personally. Like,
So
that's the line.
I have a rule about that, right? You should never be upset for a loss for longer than the game actually lasted. Right.
That's a good
So
one.
if a game is 3 hours, be upset for 3 hours. Anything more than that, you should not be upset. Cyrus is allowed to be upset for 5 days for his test match watches, right? Other than that,
What about my marriage?
that's
My
not a game,
marriage.
dude.
Oh, you don't think it's a
And
game?
you're not
And
and you're
you
not
have the
winning
balls to
that
play
anyway.
play it first. Sorry?
You're not winning that one. That's why. No,
You're not
that's why
winning.
you're
Yeah,
upset.
I don't think there's any winner at the end of it. It's 15 hard rounds of boxing. But coming back to our sports related thing, also we knew that we were losing by say over 7 or 8. I mean, they were well ahead in the run rate,
Yeah,
10 wickets in
yeah.
hand, it's more or less gone. So it's easier to deal with because it's not a close finish in that sense. So I was
Right.
hoping that would have helped. Because generally when it's a close finish, you lose in the last ball or something really close in any sport, that takes a little longer emotionally. You do get,
It
wind taken out
does.
of your sails. But that's different from the malice and anger. There could be a little anger. I understand we are human, but you cannot start,
Angles for malice.
pontificating and abusing and yeah, this personal crap. How can we defend that? And it's like you scratch the surface. Are we all communalists? Are we all sexist? Are we? I
That's
mean,
what it.
because she's an
That's
actress,
what
she's
it
a she's a
reveals.
she's a sexually promiscuous person, which is not even a bad thing for God's sake. I mean, in the list of crimes, really, is that where
Is
we
that
stand? Yeah, just like genocide and communal genocide and casteist genocide, what have you. And we're like, oh, she humps a couple of men more than normal. What the hell? How does it matter?
What did you feel
Really?
about the Black Lives Matter protest stand or
So that
whatever?
was
I
very
didn't even know that
confusing.
was a thing till I saw it on the internet later. I was like, is that what they did it for?
They're obviously on different feeds because it was supposed to be a collective effort. That's the whole beauty of the thing if they
Huh.
do it. Amit was asking offline. So the whole thing goes back to Michael Holding, one of the greats, who talked about it, and they started during the English season to
Hmm.
copying your guys.
Huh.
What's his unpronounceable name who never played again, who started the whole
Kaepernick.
movement?
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. So Kaepernick downwards, and so the English boys started doing it. West Indies team and Pakistani teams did it when they toured 2020, and then it started petering out a little bit. And some people started saying, "Do we have to do it?" etc., etc. So now they try to revive it.
Huh.
But it's a personal thing. No, ICC is not given a mandate. You have to do it or anything like that. So Indians decided to do it. Rohit Sharma, if you saw right at the beginning, was asking Babar, who seemed to be clueless. Babar was focusing on the game. Rohit was focusing on the knee, and so win some, lose some. So we
But
took a
see,
knee,
that's
and they did this gesture, which I found also. Why are you doing two different gestures? It's almost then again throwing it
so
out of
basically
balance for me.
India took a knee and Pakistan put their hand on the heart.
Hand on heart. I mean,
I and during what national anthem did they do this?
no. So before starting play, they come on the field, the two bats, Indian boys. Also, our boys in the dugout also took the knee. I mean, but
Huh.
they're off the field in a sense. And the 11
Okay.
Pakistani players. The umpires didn't kneel. They're very old. They won't be able to get up. They're like Kunal, so
So
they couldn't
so
do
so
it.
it was not. It was just like
Yeah.
getting before getting on the match. They all
Before
kneeled and then
before
they got
play,
up.
boom, the whistle blows and you play. Here the umpire calls play, so it's a little different from say
Okay.
football or basketball.
I see. I mean, like I would have preferred it if, or I would have appreciated if it was for a protest for their own countries or the things that are going on
Yeah,
in
but
their own
that's what
countries.
that's the entire like anger on the internet
See,
Yeah.
is
the whole
now
thing is
that.
that Black Lives Matter goes beyond just black people, etc., etc. It's a collective sport. In footy, a lot of the teams are doing it, for example. But of course,
Hmm.
each one has actual black players representing
People
them
on
as
the team.
well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all
Hmm.
that is there. But I don't have a problem. You want to do it, okay? But just do it collectively. It starts to look like a circus. And again, it shows how the subcontinent is disorganized. Why did the two teams not do the same thing? Why were they unsure when to start? Why, why? It's a professional. I mean, it's out there. You want to do it, just make sure it's there in the itinerary and get it done. Because now it's an event being watched by everybody. It's not like an inter-school event where people are asking, Mrs. Paranjpe, which lane am I in? It sound look like that to me because he's talking to the umpire, he's talking to Babar Azam. KL Rahul has no idea. He's standing there with his hands akimbo like this, and
And
then they
so
I'm
they
just
did it.
And the question here kind of also becomes another thing, and I'm asking more from just realistically, what is one supposed to do? So you see that happening, you get upset because you're right. There's like an n number of things happening in our country that you would like maybe a cause to be taken up by people who have this kind of
Yeah.
reach and voice and all of that stuff. Fair enough, 100% agree. They've done this, you're irritated, you're outraged at your cricketers. Now, what do you do in terms of supporting them for the next match? Do you stop watching? Do you still support the team? Do you continue to
No, it's not an act of evil,
No,
Ayushi, for God's
yeah.
sake. It's,
no, but
it's
that's
he's
no,
saying relatively
I'm
again.
asking you relatively again, you're irritated at them and you have questioned their morality, intelligence, integrity,
No,
nationalism,
I
everything.
only
No.
question their
Just
intelligence,
discipline.
or only
But
question
I'm
I
their.
saying
mean,
no on the internet. Again, I'm
Oh,
talking as
oh,
not a representative of the internet. Yuck.
okay.
But I
yeah.
mean, as a person who sees and who is like, engaging with media on a daily basis, you're seeing this and you're like, of course I'm irritated, but I also really like cricket. So at what do I do in this situation? Do you support, because you've supported all the other causes in your country, you want people to stand up, you yourself have not have put yourself out there, I mean, like, I support this, I'm against this, blah, 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 blah. Drugs, NCB, all of this stuff is going on and you're like, now what? Again, caught in this nice little rock
but
hard place
this is a very
situation.
personal thing as far as I'm concerned. And you got whatever 20 cricketers and staff from each side or sports teams, whatever they are. I personally feel you should be allowed to do it or not do it. That's the way it should be. It's
Oh
a democratic thing.
yeah.
We don't want to do it, don't do it. I don't care.
And it's
You
your
know,
body. You take a knee, you stand up,
no,
you do a headstand.
your
It's your
political,
problem.
it's your
Yeah.
political and social stance. It's not Amit's. If he doesn't want to do it for whatever reasons, he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think we should look at it from the point of view of like Switzerland. We're neutral here. Please do what you want to do, and not
Yeah.
get into a
And
whole
then
debate about
It,
it.
yeah,
it
and
is
then
about
play the
free
game.
expression for an individual, right? I mean, like whatever
Exactly.
Of
their
course.
individuality is, they should be able to do. I just
And
it just confuses me that Black Lives
Yeah.
Matter as
That's
a
what I'm saying.
topic is the
two countries
topic
with
that you
nuclear
choose.
arsenal ready to kill each other with terrorism,
Yeah,
etc.,
this is
etc.
the
Where does
topic
this
you're.
come into it?
Yeah,
But
because
in
again,
both these
there
countries, race is a
do
big
like
issue. So in a sense, although it's not black lives as ethnic Africans, it's definitely we've got race issues and racial issues and color issues and complexes, blah blah blah.
But
So I again,
that's the
but
other
how,
thing.
but this is the thing. The Black Lives Matter folk are very much only about Black Lives Matter, right? I mean, like I'm sorry, but that's the truth of that.
fair enough,
If
fair
you
enough.
want to
I
talk
know
up,
the bill. Yeah,
if you want to talk about like a more kind of police police reform or issues like that, there are other ways to go about doing it, because again, when you're doing Black Lives Matter, you are by definition being divisive. You are. It's a divisive movement. Well, like it or not, whether that's the intent, it is a divisive movement, right? So why are they being divisive
Bob
over
Beamon did
something
the
which
famous
is,
Black
I don't know,
Power
I just don't
thing
get it.
in
Yeah,
1968, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah,
after winning the long jump or high jump, and he did the long jump, and he did this, the Black Power salute. That was the first time I think it was seen. Okay, I'm saying these are
Yeah.
things that you want to do. It you want to do. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. Also, if you want to show support in the Middle
yeah.
East or wherever, you do it. All right. I'm only talking about the fact that they're so uncoordinated that it starts looking like a real amateur bunch of people in some village fair. I
Cyrus is
mean,
looking at the production value of this. Like he's like,
no,
this was not produced
you're
well.
killing the seriousness of the game suddenly. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, they're
Yeah.
just searching for people and they're not sure when to do it. And then they do two separate things. Then you guys have this argument of what are they talking about? Because your hand on heart could mean anything. That's not the Black Lives symbolic knee movement thingy. So what do the
That's just hand on
Pakistanis do?
heart.
Hand on heart means, I'm missing my mom and dad. I mean, I don't know. I love my country. Well, what is that? I mean, what does
A
that
lot
mean?
of people, yeah, exactly. During the national anthem, a majority of the world actually puts their hand on their heart when singing the
Yeah.
national anthem. We
Yeah.
are like
It's
hands to the
halfway to
side.
this in any case.
Oh
I mean, you're
dear
there.
Lord.
Yeah.
I think this is the right time before you go there.
To
Let's
take a break
change the
here.
topic.
So
Oh,
we
take a break.
We
Yeah,
take
yeah,
a
yeah.
break. Yeah. Please don't call me fascist. I'm just weak, not fascist.
Well, we went 36 minutes without taking a break.
And without any
Yeah.
topic,
Yeah.
because we are so angry with the Indian fans. Let's not call them fans. That's too nice a word. They're not fans. They
Yeah.
are another F
Oh,
word,
fan.
but not fans. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So are we on a
Antariksh,
break now?
We have
Yeah, we
a
are
break, and
but you can't go.
Oh.
You want to go somewhere
No, I'm not going anywhere. I was going to take a picture.
of yourself.
No, of you guys, but of myself by association. I'm in the stream.
Okay, I think I took a wrong turn today as well as yesterday. In fact, yesterday I did one, not while driving. I'm talking about the Slay X Blend coffee, the wrong turn latte. Have you guys tried it?
we'll try it today.
Good answer. In time. Silvery has tried it, so I won't ask him. And Ayushi is not paying attention. This is my
No,
effect on
what?
the ladies.
Something about coffee?
On cue, on cue. Yeah. So we're talking about the wrong turn latte. Ayushi, it's so perfect for me, and these are my words, because it's India's strongest coffee. And as you know, I'm all about strength. I mean, just look at my boys. Silvery, when you write copy about biceps, you say guns. You don't say boys.
Who
Okay.
is that?
Dude, whatever, man.
Then I'm supposed to flex. Strength is all I care about. It's delicious, unsweetened coffee that just kickstarts your brain. Boys. It's got so many different connotations.
I know.
It just
Who has
kickstarts your
written
brain
this?
when you need it. So a perfect coffee to start your day. Ayushi and Amit are both coffee drinkers, right? So is
Yes, I am.
Silvery is a cold
Ah.
coffee drinker, which they also have, by the way.
Yeah,
I
they
dare
have
say I'll
some.
be yeah, go on. They do.
No,
Because
there are
the
some great coffees. Yeah, yeah.
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 I don't know
And this
about
we're saying sincerely. This is not just because they're with us. I dare say I'll be taking a lot more wrong turns from now on. I also got myself, there's another one. I also got myself a graveyard. Again, not talking about the place where I go at night to talk to my friends, Ayushi. I mean, who does
What
that?
are these ads? Who writes this for you?
Look to one side of your screen. I'm talking about the Slay X Coffee Blend Americano. See, it's going to unravel slowly. Listen to the poet at his best. The Graveyard, absolutely amazing. Slay X is India's strongest coffee. It's perfect for my mornings, especially when I feel like I need a real pick me up. I don't think I need a pick me up ever. It could well, but I will take the coffee.
Who can pick
Uh,
you up?
Oh, metaphorically, when I
Yeah, I'm
stand at the
asking.
red light signal with a handbag and okay.
I'm
Uh,
going back to my phone.
Listen, my sponsor must not feel we're going off target too often. Slay X is India's strongest coffee. It's perfect for my mornings, especially when I feel like I really need a pick me up. It could well be your next favorite blend of coffee as well. So, what are you waiting for? Order India's best rated coffee today on Swiggy and Zomato. Slay Coffee, India's best coffee experience. And I have to take my sip, which I do off camera because I'm waiting for the cup to come with the brand, which is supposed to reach soon, huh, Silvery? Don't make me
Yeah.
order. I'm a conjuice. You know
Okay.
that.
Cool. Cool.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
order.
Good.
Slay, if you're listening, Ayushi, will you try Slay coffee?
Yeah, slay.
You know the kids in class. This is exactly what happens to the half listener who just picks up the last word and then goes with it and wings it and hopes it's meaningful. Excellent. Yeah.
It is all
Slay
about
coffee.
meaningful connection over slay coffee.
Well,
There you go.
Slay Coffee is a wonderful brand to be associated with, and I'm not just saying it because we hope they never leave us.
Hey,
Long pause.
hi, Slay Coffee. There are other shows on the network that you can also sponsor.
Yes. We are
Okay,
explaining to
there are
them the
two. There's
importance of this.
graveyard as well as we've got wrong turn latte. So I'm sure we can handle two. I'll keep graveyard since that seems to be my fit. I go talk. I mean, who goes to a graveyard and hangs out? Silvery, what are you taking
So
in the
it's
night?
you.
It's more than
That was the
coffee.
joke. I mean,
I know, but it's so mean. I'm like, how low is my social
it's just-
life,
And again,
social
if I may
expectations?
add this as well, that if we are trying to make it true to Cyrus's life, he needs to go to the graveyard pre-dawn, not post-sunset.
Yeah, 4:45. That
Yeah,
would make sense. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
when the spirits are sleeping, they've like had enough. Yeah, really, that's true. But Amit, now you brought it up today. I got two messages after midnight yesterday.
Oh,
One from a Bombay gym guy about some thing in the club, and one other person about some
huh.
work. So I messaged them at 4:46
You
very
should.
happily. There was no
Yeah, you
response. So
should.
I did. And with no
You should.
malice intended. I'm just like, you got your timing, how about my timing? What's
Yeah.
this? It's 12:06 and
No,
I'm
but
just gonna
I think that's the way you should be with this stuff. You should for WhatsApp and stuff like that. It has now gotten to the point where I feel it's the responsibility of the person who uses WhatsApp to turn your turn your sounds on and off. Have your sounds on when you want them on, and have your sounds off when you want them off, right? So then messages will come, and people should not expect immediate responses.
and
Like,
also
I don't respond immediately.
we have different like sort of cultural timing situations as we can see. A lot of people like to do their WhatsApp late at night when they're free or
Yeah,
whatever, and I
yeah,
mean, what's the point? I'm fast asleep. So
yeah.
for me that timing is early morning, so I do it at 4:45
You
and
should
nobody
do that.
responds. If they
I do the
respond
same
again
thing.
then night. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I normally do like a lot of WhatsApp messages. I'll respond to it like 8:39 in the night, like when I'm done with other things, right? Because it's just like you got to think about what you want to write to somebody, and it's taking you out of other things, right? You can't let yourself be constantly distracted by everything that comes
I
at
keep
you
it,
every
my
minute
phone
of
is
the day.
off 24 hours, no sound.
Yeah.
That sound thing I think will cause a heart attack. I think sound should be abolished from phones. It's just too much because nobody can concentrate on what they're doing. When we work in the studio, half the time people are on their phones when you're trying to talk and all. Then you call the guy again and you're not allowed to slap people. That's not allowed anymore. Although apparently it is in certain parts of this country, but I won't get into it.
Uh,
Ayushi is frozen. I just
apparently, in
lost
certain parts of
interest.
this
No, I'm not frozen. I'm actually looking up Slay Coffee.
Okay,
Um,
listen, be very delicate on this one. Okay, they mean a lot to us. We can attack the
no, I
government, we
wanted
can
to see
attack
where I
foreign
can order
governments.
from. I wanted to
Oh,
see where I can order from. That's all.
oh,
excellent.
there is
Well done.
you can use Zomato, Swiggy, those kinds of
Yeah,
places. They're
that's what
Awesome.
I
basically
Oh,
just
like
and
yeah.
saw. Yeah,
yeah.
Or
Bigfoot special.
Silvery will
Ayushi
deliver it
is
to
on
your
the
house.
phone.
Who's on the phone?
Silvery, no, somebody, Bigfoot's special said Ayushi on phone. Agreed. Ayushi is on phone. She's distracted. Is it still a break?
Who's Bigfoot?
No,
uh,
we are back from the break.
I
A
don't
while
remember
back.
this name. We've had a Bigfoot on the show before. Or is that
I
a Slay Coffee special that is being mentioned?
I
no,
have
Tongue-in-cheek.
big feet though.
How do we know? I mean, how can you say that?
It's a Bigfoot. Wait.
Wait, what's the
I'm
foot
so
size?
stupid. I'm trying to change my face angle to see it. I
No,
can't
it's
make
like
out. I can't
it's
make
like
out
a
if it's big.
US
It doesn't
Southeast
appear.
9.
It doesn't appear.
Oh, that's
What?
like my
You have
foot size.
9? Mine is
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, mine is 9 and 10. Yeah, same.
She's got a bigger foot than us.
No, but
Well,
There are lots
I
of
think
correlated
women
stories.
I think Ayushi is also
women's
taller than
sizes.
me. Actually, I think Ayushi is also taller than me.
How
That
tall
makes
are you,
sense.
Ayushi?
5'7".
Oh, I'm
She's
5'7",
shorter
so
than me.
like same kind of.
Now
Yeah.
you want
Well.
weight, dimension, biotic.
No.
Well, the fact that you can lift your leg above your hip is good enough. Come to my age, you have to have three people put the leg up for you, and then four to lower it. It's terrible, very painful. But I don't
This
think
is
I
so
don't think a
dark.
foot is. I think you're just making fun. The foot is not enlarged. I've seen women with. There are two, three things that really bother me, without sounding
Hmm.
sexist, is women with hairier backs than me because I have very little hair. That have been constant issues.
Have you
You
seen a
know,
lot of women with hairy
so women get,
backs?
yeah. So some women, some ethnic types get a lower back hair right there in the lower back area. So when you're holding, when you're let's just say when you're slow dancing to, beautiful music, you know, and
You're
at that
slow
point you
dancing
suddenly
naked.
you wonder if you are with an ape. And of course, she wonders if she's with a woman because my back is slender. So we're so confused. Ape woman.
Slender is not a word
With
that we
or
would use
without
to describe you.
you, with or without you, and that's the question you're asking. That's your dance.
So is
No, but
that your pet peeve with women?
don't know, I love women. No pet peeve. They just don't love
I
me.
tried to
What's wrong
bait
with
you
you?
into it.
No, these things don't. I like fat women, thin women. I only get the personalities can turn me off, but that's also true of men.
But that's
More than
that is but that's
physicalities
the
don't turn
best
me off
part.
much.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying. Like you can judge based on personality till kingdom come. It's just
yeah.
anything outside that you can't
So
judge.
don't you think it's completely fake? The first 10 meetings, more or less, whatever we were set in stone the first time, people
I don't know about
unravel.
first 10. I don't know
They
about first 10. I
unravel.
think first three meetings, dates, hangouts, whatever
Yeah,
is
but
very like
dates are
stilted.
not.
Not stilted, but
Are you
you're
see dates?
guarded.
You're perfect on a date. Who fucks up a date unless you don't like the person? It's the evening time. You decked up properly. You smell nice. You say the right things. You're calm. You
Yeah.
relax. You have a few
That's
drinks.
what I'm
How do you
saying.
fuck that up?
Oh, Cyrus, we're asking
Now,
realistically how to do it. I
yeah.
can give you a list.
No, 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 no. Then the real idiots, come on, because you're on your guard, right? As a male, I'm
Yeah,
saying the male is on his
exactly.
guard.
Oh,
He's going to f it up there. But
no,
look at
no,
23 days
it's
living together. 23 days living together, you slowly expose. I had a pal of mine who went to Turkey with his girlfriend for just 2 weeks, Istanbul, and they lived together for the first time. They never spoke again, and it's nothing. Nobody had an affair or just living together 14 days, like a light version, a trailer of marriage. Never
Yeah.
spoke to each other again.
Yeah, but that's fair. Like in the sense you learn so. I mean, just using the bathroom in front of each other. That's like a huge step, right?
It's
Pooh.
not a huge step.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to use it. You don't understand.
Still not there, Cyrus.
Sylvie, just stay with your mom. I've told you 3 times. Just stay with
Yeah,
your
yeah.
mom. Okay? You can always
Good.
visit Indonesia or wherever the girlfriend is now. Yeah,
Sure,
as
sure.
and when.
Will do.
But you don't know
Spaceman,
that
you have a
story.
girlfriend
No, I
in
don't.
Very.
Indonesia.
Not
It's a
anymore.
touchy topic. It's a touchy
No,
topic.
no.
I'm so
In the
sorry.
pandemic, she left
I
for
mean, it's
Indonesia and
fine.
never came back. She was
No,
staying
he
together
used
and
to.
taking part in our show.
He used to. What? You
No.
They
never
were like
brought
a
on our
twosome.
show.
She had a house, empty house. He would be there. Everything was hunky
Yeah.
dory. Please stop me if I cross any lines
No, no,
of.
no, it's fine. It's
I
fine.
thought
Now my
you're
mom knows all
sharing.
this now at this point. Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
Plus, you don't care. As long as you don't care, it's therapeutic. You're killing that feeling completely once and for all. By just saying it again and
Yeah.
again. So then she took off to
Oh.
Indonesia in the middle of the pandemic, left him. Poor chap.
Yep.
Antariksh, we
Stranded.
miss
I
you.
know, right?
We miss you on our show now because of all this gossip you're giving us.
Oh,
Oh,
Sylvie.
sorry. Well,
Moment you're free, photos and fancy free. The ladies are putting out. It looks like left, right, and center. What's going on here? He's going to call you on the show. Every woman on the show is going to call you up. You're a chick magnet.
I
I didn't
mean,
know this.
if
No, we
only, yeah,
thought
Cyrus. If
we
only
thought
all of you
our.
wanted to sing true.
I
Drop
have
it
to
to the
say though,
graveyard on your way back from the barn.
unfortunately, we can't set you up with any of our listeners because we also thought that the show would help us find dates. Like we were
But
crowdsourcing
it
through our
hasn't.
show. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at all.
the
We've
only
been asking
only
for
a,
like 2 years now.
the only available
Cyrus.
dates apparently are those trolls. They're there every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Kill
yeah.
Mohammed Shami / Virat Kohli and family. Those guys are available. Whoever's interested, they're always
This
there.
is this is exactly why you have so many single women out there because look at what is the option.
Yeah, but I think we'll do this lecture some other time. But I think this
Yeah.
marriage thing and staying together, they need to work out. The dynamics aren't good. People need a lot of space to survive each other. Okay, what's our one topic for the day? At least it's
Okay,
10:48.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So because since we have Ayushi here, we have to address this topic.
Yeah.
So in California, right? Especially in Long Beach, California, but in other parts of California as well, almost across California, ports, cargo ports, and cargo port terminals are at almost a standstill because they don't have any more yard space to take in more cargo containers. I think Ayushi
Just
just
also, I think preamble for our
hung.
listeners that
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Ayushi is the, what is the right
Antariksh,
word?
you're
The
frozen.
stevedore,
No,
shippy
not at all. Not
Okay,
at
I'm
scientist
all.
back.
of
I'm back.
the Navy. I don't know. What is the
I'm
expertise?
nothing. I'm nothing except cock and bull's like slightly odd offbeat shipping correspondent.
Well,
Anything
you're
happens with
you're
the ship, I get a message from Antariksh. You know, on my phone,
Yeah.
I swear I got a text. And I don't get the message. I only get the name saying someone sent you a message.
oh,
I saw it and I was like, this fucker is asking me because Flexport is still waiting. I was like, he's messaging me for this. I know it. And I opened it and he was like,
For sure.
Ayushi, can you come on Cyrus' show tomorrow? I was like, ah.
yeah, so
Look at my
we'd love to have
pigeonhole.
you on all the time, but then this was a good excuse to get you, right? I mean, like
But
that
what is
was
wrong
my
with being an
thinking.
expert on a very,
No, no.
what's the right word?
But
Narrow but important slice of society, which is
yeah, of
naval
course, it's
shipping issues,
so much fun.
maritime issues. We get the right word. Yes.
Maritime. I
Yeah.
actually work in commodities, as some people would know now, because
How
this is like
sad.
the
He
third
says to
time.
push that through. It's
Uh,
commodities first.
it's not shipping. I wish it was. I wish this was like so. I wish I was like a Greek shipping magnet, and that's why you all called me on. Like that would have been epic. But no, I work in commodities, so kind of like shipping, trade lines, supply chain is like things that I'm interested in from a work perspective, as well as just personally. But Antariksh is right. Um, to give you a little bit of the background, both Los Angeles port and Long Beach port, which kind of handle the bulk of anything that comes in on the western coast of America. So these are like the busiest ports on the western seaboard. There's a backlog that is it's unprecedented. They've never had this kind of backlog. They have like 150 plus vessels currently out at Anchorage, still
Some
waiting to come into the
50,000
port.
plus containers in total.
Yeah,
that
so
have to get
they
unloaded.
have so much. They have a huge backlog of the vessels still waiting to come into the port to discharge, and there's no space. And this is predominantly because there's a couple of reasons actually. There's no space at the port in the container yard because safety regulations also don't let them stack to a certain level. That's one. Two, they don't. There's been a labor crunch, so truckers are facing this across the country. Freight forwarders are facing it across the country. Shipping lines are facing it. They don't have enough labor to move the stuff out. And also, unlike a majority of ports across the world, and specifically in like our side of the globe, they don't do operations on a 24/7 basis. So they're just now, like Biden and all these people have gotten involved to see whether they can start 24/7 operations of unloading, packing, repacking, moving stuff out, which is not something that they usually do. And I'm not getting into the labor law aspect of it or commenting on how our labor laws work, but we have ports who have a capacity to load 10,000 metric tons of
We have a
cargo
port with
a day.
20,000 kgs of heroin.
Yeah, we should be showing off about that. Look at how good our drugs are.
We could use some of their containers. Send some containers here. हम लोग को pack करने का. What is there?
But actually, what's the implication of this? I mean, like, there's a global implication to it too, right?
Oh, of
In the
course.
sense of, yeah,
I mean, it's a massive implication because right now, freight in general is at an all time high. So
Right.
trade has become more expensive because freight is more expensive. And this is like obviously the most basic, simple way of understanding it. And the other thing is also containers, the like literally what you see as a box, they move across the world, right? They aren't like national objects. They get tagged and containers keep moving through the trade cycle. So it starts in China somewhere, it'll land up in New Zealand, it'll go to Singapore, it'll go to America, Peru, wherever. And this was already, I don't know, back when the first stuff was happening in the pandemic, we had a massive crunch because Chinese ports were closed for so long and they have a massive holding of containers. So they were stockpiling them. They couldn't get them out of the port. We couldn't get them in the port. So there was a container shortage, which again raises price of freight. Now you have another thing where this container blockages, empties and full containers are held at these port yards. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I have a question. So, what happens to all the Cuban families in the containers? Are they going to be taken care of, or like?
Oh my God, you want to know a crazy story though?
I'm not off
I
the
will
mark,
tell
am I?
you. Look,
Yeah.
no, you're not off the mark. So I heard this story from a shipper. In fact, there was a vessel that came, a cotton vessel that went from somewhere in Africa. to I think it was Ivory Coast or no Nigeria, and it went to Greece, and they were discharging cotton. So it was in containers, right? So the cotton bales, and they were discharging. And this they get to the port in Greece, and this really old, maybe like an old stevedore or whatever, he goes to open the containers, and out pop four men, like four like Nigerian men have just jumped out of the container and like bolted and run across the port. This guy was so scared he had a heart attack. He had to be hospitalized. And and these guys had been, this is like a 4-week voyage, like it's nearly 4 weeks from all the way up to Europe. They had been staying in this container, and I mean, what sounds like a funny story, it's just like, of course, it's a commentary on the
Also,
immigration,
how do they
but
eat and pee and potty and all that? Because
oh
it's
yeah,
like
that
next 2
entire
hours.
container was the entire container was destroyed. They had to burn it.
Oh God, this
They had to set
podcast
fire
is
to
so
it.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Shall we do a
Um,
home loans ad read quickly because we need to do the
Yes, please.
AMAs? I think it's way over
Yes, we
time.
do. We do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cyrus home loans ad read. You have to be careful with everything nowadays, guys, even while drinking water, because you just never know. I'm not trying to scare you, but it's true. There I was, sitting merrily with my beloved wife, who I love more than anything in the world. Love you more than anything in the world. Not Badal, my wife. My employee was getting up to hug. I love her more than anything in the world. Drinking a glass of water while massaging her adorable little feet, a very desi custom, apparently. And my son Mikhail calls me up all the way from Canada in the middle of the night. And I was like, must be urgent. My son's on the line. What's going on? So I said, I was worried because he's only there for a month and, anything could have happened. Mikhail, what's up? What's up? Worried father. And he says, now, Dad, you can get Kotak home loans at just 6.5%. I was just caught off guard. So I spat out the water right on my wife's lovely feet, which she had just, oiled with whatever women oil feet with these days. I don't know the product names. I don't want to get away from Kotak Home Loans, which is the main product here. And of course, after she kicked me and slapped me and pushed me around, I got up and thought about it. And I blame my son for everything though, because ऐसी बातें बताने से पहले, it's written wrong, not my fault. ऐसी बातें बताने से पहले कृपया ध्यान रखिए. So here I am, sleeping on the living room couch, enjoying my life. I don't feel bad because I've got this news. Home loans from Kotak at just 6.5%. Mikhail, happy birthday and thanks a lot. Lovely. I mean, which kid does that for their father? I mean, calling from another country to tell you about our country's home loan situation, how I can really go broke when it comes to buying a good house for him eventually. Really, I really miss him. Thank you so much, son. Ayushi has... is she vomiting? What are you doing? This is not the right response to the show.
it's
What's
just
going
such
on?
a good ad.
Yeah. Brilliantly told. The singer, not the song.
Honestly, you are just a genius.
Yeah. No praise is too high. Reverse trolling. Is that better? Would you feel better? Even if it's malicious, it doesn't hurt that much. Half the time you don't understand. It's like when the teachers used to tell you, well done, and they raise their eyes. Because you got like 46 on 100 again. Well done, beta. Well done in one of those.
46 is at least pass. Okay, 45 was pass for us. So 46 is you made it.
I got more in Hindi than maths in the 10th standard. Which is
Really?
so
That's
embarrassing.
shocking. That's
Yeah.
That
shocking.
is surprising. Yeah.
I never had these scores reversed in my life till the 10th. So yeah. I was like, I just don't know what to say. I was like, how can this happen? Really? Anyway. Silvery, how much did you get in your board exam? Just 10 standard?
10th standard I got 84 and 12th I got 73.
Wow.
Wow.
And yet you
That's
became a
okay.
comedian. I got 68 in the
I mean-
10th. Hence I had to get into this line. There was no option. It was that or becoming a shippy. Which is not a bad thing. I have lots of shippy friends. Let me tell you that.
But I wish I was a shippy. It would have been more lucrative.
Yeah. Yeah. You know which is the shippy's favorite river? Mississippi.
You know the thing is, I'm going to send that to my dad.
You don't
And
have to
he's
say
going
anything.
to laugh.
You don't have to say anything. If everybody can just pause for a minute, it's like when somebody dies. Just let it go sometimes. It's exactly when you stand up and the audience doesn't get it. There's just that silence is so deafening, literally. Sylvie, that must have happened, right?
Yeah.
The gag you've set up goes nowhere. I mean, those are the funniest moments in reality.
Absolutely. Of
Really.
course. Yeah.
Because you hit a high note with the last punch line and whatever, and boom, nothing. Oof. All right. Shall we pack up? No, we have to AMAs.
No, we have AMAs.
A couple of AMAs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
couple of
All right.
AMAs.
This one is comes in from Gaurav Pilania. He says, "Fun fact: hate crimes in Liverpool have come down by a considerable amount
Yeah.
after Mohamed Salah joined the club." This was a
Absolutely.
research done by some reputed university.
No,
There's a
no, it's true.
huge article actually, I think, in one of the English, big English law, this thing, sheets, newspapers, print sheets that's still around. And
Sheets. Did you forget the word newspaper?
newspaper. Kya zamana ka tha hai, newspaper. I was in a container from Nigeria to Athens. I've got like fecal matter all over my body. Please understand what I'm going through.
By the
can't
way, they
believe.
found them because that port is a closed custom port, right? So they had to then do a manhunt for these 4 guys, and they found them and they sent them back. It was
How
so
sad.
sad. Yeah.
But at least this time they go in, they probably go in business class after what they've been through.
Yeah, but
Because
they're
even
going to
standing room
prison.
would be good.
But yeah,
Prison,
yeah,
is it?
yeah. Salah done great for the team.
Lovely
I
guy. And
think
if you
that's
follow,
some.
sorry,
I think that's something. Sorry, guys.
no, his politics is very liberal. He's a great face for Egypt as well as the West. He's a very, and everything he says, he's just kind of guy you salute and say, this is the guy. He's a great role model, honestly, and that's superb. North of England is known for more racism than the rest. So, not
You would
specifically
think that
Liverpool, but definitely North.
Mohammed Shami, not so far in terms of the names, would have been able to, do the same for us. I mean, not that it's his responsibility to do that at all. I'm just saying like our people learn nothing.
Yeah, but I think if you're born to be like a vicious reptile with poisonous glands, that's the way it is. Now, what are you going to do? We try to
And
reform too many people, just give up on them. They just trolls.
I'm
That's-
sure that Mohamed Salah gets his trolls as well, right? In Liverpool,
Yeah,
in
of
that
course,
sense.
of course.
But again, I think that the thing that you see
But
over
Amit,
this, right, is that
imagine being loved in another culture and other
Oh,
cultures.
yeah,
He's loved here by football
yeah,
fanatics. So
yeah.
anywhere in the world, he shows you that it's all about talent and that brings people together. Just the respect for talent. Like I loved Imran Khan, the cricketer, growing up. As a cricketer, you can't argue with his talent and his ability and his presence.
Yeah,
So you can't argue with that. And that's just on
agree.
another level. You can bring people together with that because all the football playing countries of the world, kids from different cultures, languages, races, whatever, they like Mohamed Salah. He's like a hero.
No, that's exactly what I was saying. I was just bringing it from the other point of view that I'm sure
Yeah.
that those trolls exist to to kind of contrast with our Mohammed Sami, right? Those trolls exist here as well, but that doesn't mean that they don't bring this sense of it to this, right? Like one of the things that people talk about, like why is the right wing Hindu movement going after Bollywood so much, right? They're talking
Yeah.
about it because it's the most secular,
It is.
visibly secular,
It was.
like in
It
the sense
was at least.
visibly secular, not like just
Correct.
like this, right? And that's why to kind of make it seem not as the den of vice and all of that, right? There's a
And Shah
deliberate.
Rukh, Hindu wife from Delhi. Nobody is converted to anything. They all have their independent everything. The kids are independent of everything. He's the most liberal, and in that sense, the way he's lived
Yeah,
his life, you can't point a finger at him.
yeah,
He's generous. He's charitable. He's nice. He's great on the set. Everybody likes him. There's very little that you can say against him. He's given
And
lots of
it's
money
like
to everybody
y-
to help
you've
them
gone
during the
after
pandemic.
you've gone
Like off a
after
kid.
Shah Rukh. Like really, you thought this was not going to backfire?
Oh, I
it
hope it
hasn't
backfires.
backfired. I don't think it
Not
has backfired
well. Now at least he's
because
under investigation. So let's see.
it's a
No,
no, no.
backfire in terms of like once again you've united a more like you've united the like a liberal group against this thing of being like
And also
Shah
the
Rukh.
quasi
Yeah, but
Shah
fascists,
at
the
the
Rukh.
ones on
same
the line,
Ayushi, the people.
make slip over to our side.
No, but this is the thing, though. I think one of the things that you all that we are underestimating here, right, is just how deeply this idea of drugs are evil is embedded in Indian culture or in
Mm,
Indian in modern Indian kind of
yeah,
thought, right?
fair.
That I mean, like it's like I mean, like you see anybody trying to defend Shah Rukh on social right now, right? Every comment to them is like, how can you defend drugs? How can you defend crime and drugs? I mean, and that's the thing that I mean, like, with a lot of people, when I talk to my mom about this situation, I
My
talk to
father.
uncles and aunts, they have
m-
zero. They're like, how drugs,
So
how are you defending
the
drugs?
the SRK
Well,
Baiju ads are back, by the way. So I saw them on
no,
TV
all are
again,
back.
like
All
just
are back.
yeah.
He's on
So
all his Netflix.
my dad saw that and he was like, how can they do this? The Shah Rukh Khan
Yeah,
can't even control his own son. He's going to teach these children. I'm like, he's not the one teaching these children. He's just
yeah.
getting eyeballs to Baijus.
Yes,
But
exactly.
you must
And what is
ask your
your
dad the
son up
question:
to?
who is that
Ask
guy
your
who's?
dad that question.
Yeah,
I don't
really.
think Antariksh
Yeah.
wants to ask his
Aryan
dad
is,
that
I
Aryan
mean,
is not as guilty. Aryan is
Dad,
not
if you're
as
listening to
guilty.
this.
We had the same discussion at home. Like my brother and
Yeah.
I were talking to our parents, and we were like, "Why don't you ask us what we're up to?" And they're like, "That's the thing. We're not." And not that they were against this. They would. I was just like, "This is a conversation that every single parent should have with their kid before you come after Shah Rukh and his
Hey
son.
guys,
Yeah,
no
Ask
one
your
is
kid what he's up to."
please tell all your parents. No one has a problem with any of the accusations against them. I'm just saying that he should have got bail. All those 5 kids should
Yeah,
have got bail.
exactly,
That's it.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly,
the
exactly.
punishment is not
Bail.
the
This
case
is
is
not
not
commensurate to
terrorism,
the crime.
treason, murder, rape. There are 5 or 6 categories, or drug pusher. So they're not in those categories. You just give them bail, and then you can do what you want with the bloody
Absolutely.
case. Lakhimpur in the meantime goes on 6 days to find the guy, and we don't know how that's going to end up. I mean, you kill
And they
people. It's
transfer
on
that
video.
police also. They
Yeah.
They
transfer
transfer the
that
guy.
the
Yeah,
guy they've
who
transferred him
dared.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Who dared
exactly.
to
Yeah,
question that Mishra? I
yeah.
mean, they're not even playing the game very well. BJP used to
And
be.
Ayushi, please explain who this Gosavi guy is who takes the kid by the hand. Yeah, he's not even a policeman. He's not from the drug
Who are
bureau.
you?
No.
Who
Who is
are
he?
Yeah.
you?
He's got cases in
This
Malaysia
guy.
and Pune. Who is this
Yeah.
guy? He's a home detective, they're saying. What does that mean? Who's
He's
this
What
now
is
home
a
he's being
home
detective?
considered a
detective?
witness and all. How is he a witness if you're the one who brought him there?
No, 1 second. What is a
Yeah.
home detective? Like me, when I find who ate the snack, I have deduced that I'm a home
Oh
I
my
think
detective.
it's something like that. Probably cheaper than a professional detective. No GST to be attached, etc. Because they're not on the books. I don't know. But it's just ridiculous. I
So
hope.
I
Yeah.
I'm reading an article right now which says that Sanjay Raut shares video of Aryan
Route,
Khan
route.
talking to Gosavi in NCB custody, demands police action. So there's a video now of Gosavi just talking to Aryan Khan and like interrogating him in like ways and stuff. So
Yeah, then
yeah,
this whole thing
that's
of
that.
asking for bribes and all. Let's see if
Yeah,
there's
asking for
anything to all that, because it all sounds a little too far-fetched at the end of the day. uh, Party, drugs, little bit whatever, they get in, they spend a few days in jail, they give them bail and get on with the case. It
yeah.
shouldn't be more than that. It's just
It's the bail issue. It's the fact that you're holding
absolutely.
a kid under, like, you have no proof, this pretext. And, like, people with worse things have gotten bail
Mhm.
faster. Now, suddenly, you want to crack down on
And
this.
the
Like,
WhatsApp chats are all innuendo. It's not been admissible before in court. Up the appellate court system is not going to be looked
Oh
at.
no, actually, I
So
was looking at so Shekhar Gupta had a huge article in the print yesterday about the NCB law and how it's been constructed. WhatsApp chats apparently are admissible because the way the NCB is the rules around this, right? The rules around the Narcotics Act, it is one of those. It's where they turn
ways they
the things on
communicate.
the. No, it's on its head, right? It's not innocent till proven guilty. It's guilty till proven innocent. You have to prove your innocence in a narcotics case. I was reading this. There's a large article on the print
But
about this that he wrote
but
yesterday, and I
there
was
can
just
be
like,
so
wait,
many
what?
variables. I could send you a message saying let's blow up Syria. It's a joke,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, there's just so many variables to it. It doesn't
But
make any
then see
sense.
again,
So
in a case of criminal, you have to be proven guilty. In this case, you have to be proven innocent,
you
right?
know,
And it's a weird this man.
The law is an
literally
ass.
2 days ago, 3 days ago, when this blast thing happened, my friends and I, we just kind of WhatsApp searched blast, the word blast in your phone, and we were like, the n number of times you have used this word, and never once. I mean, what, it does not mean anything. It's an adjective to
Correct. It's all
describe a
context.
mood. It's a
I mean, you
context, like
guys didn't know
how.
conjunctiva, sudorific. I mean,
And
should we just use words like that in future when
tomorrow
we're
you're telling
discussing
me
that?
those are street names for drugs and I used it by accident. Is that what the case is hinging on? You know what I mean? Like, this is why, like, there's so many holes in this story.
Ayushi, do you know how many other wives of other men? I get WhatsApp saying "I love you" all the time. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
Excuse
It's just
me, let's
obviously.
circle back to that. What?
Yeah, but I thought it would just fly over. Boom.
No, no, no.
so
Not
Caught
so
in a
this
over the
way.
package.
last
Okay, bro,
few
bro.
days, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, quickly over the last few days. Sorry, Ayushi, you have to head at 11. Do you have to head out?
yeah, yeah.
I,
You and
I,
I,
I give you, I give you 3 minutes. It's
three
11
Okay, okay,
7.
minutes, bro.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
okay.
Oh, I
So
myself am done in two, but let's go. Yeah.
over the last few days, in its review of the NDPS Act, which is the Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychoactive Substances Act, the Union Ministry of Social Justice, India, this is the Union Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. That's the ministry called. They have recommended a decriminalization of drugs for
Correct.
personal use and consumption.
Yeah.
Just over the last 3-4 days now, this has
Yeah.
happened.
Also,
But
the
this is
Supreme
again
Court
just a
in
recommendation,
January,
which
the
probably will
Supreme
not
Court
amount to
has
anything.
pointed out that all cases which are not super serious in terms of treason, terrorism, etc., give
Yeah.
bail. Let's get on with life.
Yeah.
There's logistical
Yeah.
issues here also.
They've made
I mean,
a
it's
they've
just
made a comment about, they've put a statement out and all of that. Like, you're going to keep these people in jail. Where is your space? Where is
Yeah.
your? I mean, there's criminals who are roaming free.
So actually, Veer Sanghvi wrote about this quite a bit, right?
Hmm.
Just last week, where he was talking about this bail in most circumstances issue, right? And the one of the points he made, which I thought was really cogent, right, was this the fact that bail becoming difficult has made it so that any government who wants to is able to essentially make headlines out of this stuff, right? And it basically allows you to kind of keep this in the news in a
Bully and
way.
intimidate as well.
Yeah, well, bully
Yeah.
and
Because no,
intimidate for sure. But then again, I don't know that there's a way to get around the fact that the state can bully and intimidate through lawful processes. But the thing
that is
is
why
that
you have the appellate structure. I mean, the
yeah,
whole idea is that they
exactly.
get it wrong because they're not as good as the guy at the top.
Yeah.
So you go over the House of Appeals one by one, one by one.
But
That's all.
if bail is allowed quickly, right, then you're willing to deal with the appellate structure. If you're put in jail for 90 days, you don't want to deal with the appellate structure. You are like, okay, what do I need to do to get out?
No, no. There's a lot of vicious points here. How they were put in the central jail in the sorry, the Arthur Road jail, etc. Because it was a 5-day festival. There's no space because of so and so crowding. There's all kinds of reasons, And it's almost like it looks malicious and vindictive. It may not
It
be.
is.
It may just be bad luck,
No,
but
but
it
it
looks
No, no,
like
no.
that.
is.
It
It
is. There's
is.
no
I
question.
don't
It
even
is.
think it's about looking. I think that now you have fully crossed into malicious. This is intent. There is, and it doesn't even. It's a state against a kid.
Hmm.
That's what it
But
is. It's a state
he's not
against a
the
kid.
but he's not the only kid. There are tens of thousands of people across the country dealing with this shit, right?
hundred
He,
percent. It's
he's
just
not
you've
the
made a
only
show of
kid.
this because he's
Yeah.
Shah Rukh's son.
But I think that you made a show of this. Hopefully, I know it's not going to happen, but hopefully it arises some sense of like, hey, this is something that we need to change.
I
Will
always
it
look at it
though?
clinically. Always first try and look at it clinically before emotions get into it. It's simple. Where's the law here? If they are allowed bail, please give them bail, and they should be allowed bail. I can't see why they're
Exactly.
not allowed bail.
And then if you
Whatever
have a case to
WhatsApp
prove,
chats are
go
being,
for it.
yeah,
Go for
you
it.
bring them,
Prove your
you bring it
case.
through the trial. Bring out your WhatsApp chats and let them argue the point because that's all they've got.
Yeah,
He had nothing
yeah.
on him. He was not even on the ship. He had not actually entered. So what are you saying? At this point, give the buggers bail, all of them.
But this is, one of the I like, there's a so there's a lot of talk on Twitter about high trust, low trust, right? In terms of we live in a low trust society versus a high trust society. Like I'll give you an example of that. If you have a dispute with a phone company today, right? And this has happened to me about 7, 8 years ago, right? Where MTNL, I had a major dispute with in terms of what they were billing me versus what I had actually asked for, etc., 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 right? And the solution over there was not that, hey, let's get into a process to sort this out. The solution over there is first pay us, then we'll get your line on, then we can talk about this. I'm like, that's not fair. You're asking me to pay for what should have been over 6 months, essentially like 7, 8,000 rupees ka bill. Instead of that, you're asking me to pay 82,000 rupees right now. And then you're saying you'll fix it out, you'll fix it for me. And I'm like, just how do I trust that? No, they built me wrong, right? Basically, what happens on
Hmm.
an unlimited plan, and they put me on a metered plan for the internet, right? And they did that for 3 months, and then they retroactively built it. So it was wrong. It got sorted eventually, right? But first you had to pay, then you can sort. And I'm
But
just like,
that's a normal.
that's how
This is like the
yeah,
MO in
Let's make
India,
this in,
right?
let's
yeah.
let's make this a consumer grievance podcast where we of course do nothing. You can
No, no,
tell us a grievance.
I'm connecting it to the two things, right? In the
No,
sense
but
of
Okay.
it's right.
attitude, right? Yeah, in
Okay.
terms of
But
attitude.
now I have to
I,
go. Otherwise,
yeah, and I've got a
my
Zoom call
day
in 12
job,
minutes. Yeah.
otherwise I'm gonna have problems of my own.
Uh,
So
Or you'll be in a container on your way to Athens.
Ram,
Via
please, no thanks. Um, anyway, it was
All right.
I love being on the show, man. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Have a good
Thanks.
week.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
But isn't the show over?
Bye.
Yeah, show's
Oh,
over. Bye. I'm saying bye. I thought
Show's
you were
so
over.
I
saying bye.
Show's
I was
over.
waiting for
so
you
We'll
to
I
do
say
just
bye.
more AMAs
leave the
tomorrow.
studio. I leave the studio.
Yeah, you leave the studio because after leave the studio and come back and say hi to Silvery for 5 minutes.
Okay, bye.
Right?
Okay.
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 Bye.
Peace.